David Moyes is gone. We've had a bit of time to deal with it. Now, guys, how do we all feel in here? This little place. Joshy?
Yeah, I'm pleased. I think it should have happened a long time ago, but I'm pleased. We've now got to look forward to moving forward the future, getting on with repairing some of the damage he's done. But overall, it's the right decision. We've just got to move on.
Jay, do you agree with that? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think the final straw was obviously not being able to get into the top four. We were out of Europe, and I think that now was the right time. I think it got on as long as it could, and it was time to to pull the plug, because he was obviously not gonna last past the summer anyway. So what's the point in giving him the last few games? Just get rid of him in the backroom staff and let someone else come in.
Okay, Adam, you've been a staunch supporter of Moyes for most of the season. How did you feel, and how do you feel now that he's gone?
I felt quite relieved, to be fair. Quite happy that we can move forward. Obviously, I supported him. I'm a bit of me sad because I wanted him to do well. Let's be honest. I like him, and I wanted him to do well. He didn't. He proved he wasn't good enough, and it's the right time to do it, I think. Would have been dangerous going into the summer with him as manager, spending 100, 200 million, and then coming around next season, it's all the same. So the right decision's been made. Let's hope we go about the selection process now correctly.
Okay, it's like a dark cloud has shifted from Old Trafford. Guys, let's talk about how this all came about. Busby, how do you feel the club handled it? Because obviously somebody inside Old Trafford leaked the story to the press and it was all out and then there was no comments on anything. Do you think this could have been done better, or do you think it was fine in the end?
I mean, I don't know if it's fine in the end. I don't think it's been. I don't think we've come out looking great as a club. But you know, in the end, I think there's obviously someone's leaked it, but I don't think it's an official brief, as it were, because I think stock market rules and the New York Stock Exchange mean that they can't sort of brief journalists like you can traditionally do. So that there is a leak, and the club will have to sort of work out what was going on there and sort it out internally. So yeah, no, I don't think we've come out looking good, but ultimately, as you said, we feel a lot better. I'm happier. I feel a bit more optimistic. Looking forward to the summer now. Looking forward to next season.
Jay, how do you think the club has dealt with Moyes over the season, and especially the last sort of 24 hours of his tenure?
Well, over the season, I felt he didn't get the easiest of starts when he came in with a new chief executive. And I think he could have maybe had a little bit more training when it comes to deal with the media. Because over the course of the season, some of his media appearances have ranged from the abysmal to the farcical. But in terms of how it ended, I think the trouble is everyone I even think he knew after the Everton game he was going. He seemed to be really defeatist. He seemed to be sort of like he'd given up. And I think plus the fact it was mathematically impossible for him to get top four, and there may have been some sort of clause in the contract, I don't know. Maybe he didn't know he was going. So it was always difficult to keep that secret, and it only takes one person to sort of leak it, and then it's out there. So I know everyone's sort of having a go at the club. They didn't handle it as well as they could have, but we've seen it in the past. Like I think it was Ancelotti at Chelsea got sacked just after he'd given a press conference. I think everyone knew he was going. It was just a matter of when. So it wasn't handled brilliantly, but it's time to move on now.
Yeah, Mac, when do you think the club made the decision to get rid of David Moyes?
I mean, there's been rumours it was a few months ago. I doubt it was that. I think if they made a decision a few months ago, it would have been gone a few months ago. I think personally, but I don't know. I think it's something that would have come around with the math. As Jay said, mathematically impossible to qualify for the Champions League. That probably made their decision, as well as us being knocked out of the Champions League as well. There's no way into Europe next season, and I think they've just cut their losses. It probably was leaked in order to put pressure on him to also mutual consent or resign. You never know. We got the Glazers at the helm. Let's remember that. So yeah, you never know. It wasn't handled the best, but it's gone now, and that's all that matters.
Busby, lots of talk. I mean, rumours that potentially they made the decision back in February, and we're just waiting for Champions League qualification to become impossible because that was a clause in his contract. Do you think Champions League football was the final straw?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, if by some miracle he had turned it around and we did qualify for the Champions League, I mean, that would in itself represent an improvement on the way the club were going. That would have required either a miracle in the tournament itself, getting past Bayern Munich and winning it, or improving our run of results in the league. And then therefore you can argue, yeah, you've got to give him time to then improve on that and build on that. The fact is he hasn't done, and we've actually worsened as the league has gone on. we've worsened this year. The second half of the season has been even worse than the first half. So he's got no leg to stand on, really. And the lack of Champions League is probably, there's rumours of a clause, and I can believe that there was a performance related clause concerning the Champions League, and they've sort of acted on it now. Cheaper payout, I guess, and that's what they've done.
Okay. Well, not to be heartless, but out with the old and in with the new. 41-year-old Ryan Giggs. Mac, what can we expect from Ryan Giggs over the next few weeks?
I was texting my mate and chatting to my mate earlier, and I think I'm excited now. Like, it's mad I haven't felt excited to go to a game in a while. Ryan Giggs, I know it's only going to be temporary, but I can't wait to see him in the dugout. When he was doing the press conference with David Moyes, you could have thought Ryan Giggs was Manchester United manager, the way he was speaking in the press conference, and the way he puts himself about. So I'm quite happy with that. I mean, if it wasn't such a risk, obviously 2 years on the trot without Champions League would be a massive blow. I would go with him long term and give him a permanent position. But I think because it's so much of a risk, the club can't do it. Just excited to see him in the role though for the last couple of weeks. And I know if Louis van Gaal is the manager, he'll probably keep him on as well. So it's all good for the club and Ryan Giggs because it looks like he'll be sticking around for a while now.
Very true. Jay, what do you think? What should we expect from Ryan Giggs? Do you think there's room or time for him to experiment with the team, or will he play it safe?
I think he should play himself up front and get that goal. So he gets that record that he's always kept up. No, I think he's only got a few games. I mean, I think he personally is in a win-win situation. Worst case scenario, he loses all the games. We don't make the Europa League. No one's really going to be that gutted. I think he'll probably just play it safe. Maybe sort of give some of the players that haven't figured as much of late a bit of a chance, but I don't think he's going to do anything too radical with 4 games left to go. I think the big thing now is trying to get a bit of dignity and sort of stability back to the club, get results against these teams that we should be beating, and just sort of move forward.
Do you think, Busby, there's room, although we've heard that Giggs probably isn't going to get the job long term, is there a chance here for him to implement his vision of Manchester United and show us what maybe he could do if he was given the task?
I mean, I think he'll look at it like that. I think he'll look at it and he'll want to do something and try and impact it quite quickly. But there's not enough time. It's 4 games. There's only so much you can do in that amount of time. So I can't see him sort of implementing a vision that quickly. I think we'll play better. I think the players will play for him. They'll wake up. You'll have that sort of that effect. I mean, even if the fans themselves are lifted, I think that will translate into the team. But in terms of his vision, you can't do that in 4 games. It's not going to happen. But if he comes out and we win all our matches 10-0 and whatnot, then you're sort of thinking, what's going on? I don't know.
And that probably will happen.
I don't know about you lads, but part of me is thinking like he could do. I don't know. I can see him as Manchester manager.
I think you're trying to overexcited though. If he beats the likes of Norwich and you give him the manager's job as his first job. It's to let him go into the summer with a big transfer budget.
Guardiola did 1 year at the Barcelona B team, didn't he, before taking over the first team?
Yeah, but I think there's a big difference between doing that and then just coming in for 4 games and then being given sort of a rebuild.
Totally agree.
I love Giggsy, man.
I think everyone loves Giggsy, but
I'm talking out loud.
a rational perspective.
Yeah, it just went quiet and Adam goes, I love Giggsy. Love Giggsy. Who doesn't love Ryan Giggs? Okay, so let's move on. As a club, where are we now compared to, say, 10 months ago? Compared to our competitors, are we in much, much worse situation than when Fergie left? Or is it going to take a year and we'll be back where we were? What do we think? Jay?
I don't... Obviously, the results have been bad and the football has been bad, but I don't think we're in much worse a situation than when Fergie left in terms of the quality of the squad. Yeah, there's players that have got to move on. I think they're getting to the end of their careers, but we have got Juan Mata's coming. I'm not going to mention Fellaini or Zaha for that matter, but there's Januzaj's come through as well. So there's reasons to be positive. De Gea has come on leaps and bounds. I think Welbeck's had a good season. But, I think whoever comes in has got a bit of a rebuilding job, but not the massive overhaul that was sort of being spouted about. I think if you look at our squad and compare it with the likes of Liverpool or likes of Arsenal and Chelsea, I don't think there's a massive difference. I really don't. I think player for player, we're up there with them squads. I think it's just been poor tactics and poor management that has led to this decline.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that we still have Anderson on loan. Like, he's not been sold yet.
Well, this is it. Once he comes back, well, Bebe and Anderson come back, and it's a
game changers.
It's a totally different start.
Mac, compared to our competitors, do you think our squad is stronger? And do you think if it is just man management, we could be challenging for the league again as soon as next season? Or do you think teams like City and Chelsea will continue to strengthen and at the moment are leaps and bounds ahead of us?
I do agree with what Jay said. I think, on paper, our squad, I think any other manager, I think if you just say Sir Alex Ferguson didn't leave, we wouldn't be outside the top four. We'd be in the top four, probably winning the league. And, so I don't think the squad's that bad at all. Obviously, you've got the likes of Rio, Vidic, Evra, who will probably be playing their last games this season. Obviously, Giggs is not going to be playing anymore. You've had Scholes leave recently. You've got a lot of players there that need replacing, younger players that are coming through, and players that just simply aren't good enough for Manchester United that need to be got rid of as well. So there are a few players there that need to be replaced. But, I mean, on paper, the squad there isn't as bad as, David Moyes made it out to be, although it does need a bit of touches to it.
Okay, all right. So if not Ryan Giggs, Busby, who do you want to take over full time from next season?
Who do I want us to take over, or who do I think would come in? I mean,
give us both.
Okay, who do I want? I would sound out Jose Mourinho and just see what he thinks. I don't know, just go for it and see whether he'll come along. If he takes it, that's my ideal anyway. That's it. But I think what will happen is we'll get Louis van Gaal in. He'll be here for a couple of years, do what he's done well, implement his philosophy, start sort of moulding the club a bit and set us up well and give us a base. And I think in a few years' time that will give us a nice base to then go out and get a young, hungry, long-term manager. I think that's what will happen. But I'd like us to sound out Jose or even go all out for Klopp. But I just think they're just a bit unrealistic at this time.
Yeah. Justin, same question.
I think Klopp was my preferred choice in the summer, to be honest with you. And if you did go for him, he's got it a little bit easier this time coming round after David Moyes rather than following Sir Alex Ferguson. But I don't know how realistic that is. Everything seems to be pointing towards Van Gaal. And that could be what we need. Someone who's got experience, someone who's got a relationship with Van Persie already. He's been in Europe, things like that. Europe's not going to matter next season, but he's got that experience where he can come in and handle big players. So maybe he can just sort of steady the storm. We saw he did it at Bayern Munich, didn't he? He came in, sort of had a bit of weathered the storm there a little bit, steadied the ship, and then moved on. And that's maybe what we need after what's been a bit of a disastrous season.
Literally showed his balls that he's literally showed that he's got the balls for the job, didn't he? At Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Dropped his balls on the table. I've read some stories about that.
Luca Toni said it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway, away from balls on the table, Adam, no Champions League football next year. We've come 7th. Surely this is a job for David Moyes. He's the ideal man for this situation, isn't he?
Yeah. Bring him and Steve Round in. He'll be all right.
I reckon they'd get us 6th.
I don't know. My ideal choice. I don't know. I don't have a certain guy that I want to see come in, like my favourite. But I think.
So who do you think?
Jurgen Klopp is one of the best young managers out there. You've got Jose Mourinho, who would come in, and I know we'd start winning things straight away. I think he'd love to take the job as well, unless he'd be a bit pissed off that we didn't take him last summer and just say no for that. But he'd want it. But I can only, as the lad said, Louis van Gaal's going to come in, and that would excite me just to see some Dutch, total attacking kind of football at Old Trafford. That's what we want to see. I mean, even this season, the only thing, if we were playing good football and the results weren't coming, fair enough. We just want to see good football. And if we see that, the results should come as well because we've got the players there. The only concern for me is that he sticks to this 4-3-3 formation. That doesn't really include a lot of number 10s, and we've got quite a few of them.
We've got loads of them.
So, that could be a problem. But I'd like to see him come in, probably with De Boer as his sidekick and possibly test him up for the long run.
I think whoever comes in, though, I think you've got to keep Giggs involved.
Yeah,
because
you've got to keep Giggs involved.
I'd like to see
play him left wing.
As either coach or
I'd like to see Giggs playing left wing. Guys, thank you very much. Lots to look forward to over the next 4 games. It's quite exciting. Please, if you're watching at home, let us know what you think, who you'd like to see take over. If you want to see Giggs on the left, maybe keeping that central role or on the bench in a suit. Let us know what you think and subscribe to Full Time Devils, like the video and share it with your mates. They'll love it.
Ryan Giggs is red and white army.
The trappings of the club were too high for him. He was rather like, I think when he arrived at the club, he was rather like a kid's first visit at Disney World. His eyes were wide open, he was walking around with his mouth open. I think at the end of his tenure, he looked more like a kid who'd just come out on the ghost train.